you're going to use the system, get a grid tie or grid interface for support configuration. The neutral ground bond jumper with the orange tag shown here must be removed. To connect an external AC input, grid power or generator power, use the AC input bus bars located here and here. This is your neutral bus bars, and your ground bus bars The system comes pre-wired for PV, but if you need to come directly to the bus bar, this is the PV positive bus. It is located here. This is the PV wire coming in. The PV negative wire comes through here, then directly through this port into the charge control room located here. The red and black twisted pair is for the LED indicator lights on the front of the unit. The ones on the left side here are for 220 volt AC indicator lamp. And this pair on the right side of the unit is for the 48 volt DC indicator lamp. Connected to the DC shunt. This is the DC shunt. Located on the side of the DC shunt is the DC current sensor. This is the inverter. AC power bypass breakers, DC power, charge controller, PV power, and 48 DC power breaker. Located on the bottom of the unit are 3 power surge protection devices. One for the 220 volt AC in, one for the 220 volt AC out, and one for the PV DC in. The components of the system are the Midnight Cook Check Classic Charge Controller, breaker panels, inverter. On the bottom is the surge protection devices. This is the 220 volt AC out power cables. The gray cabling here is the PV in cables. The blue cable is the battery temperature sensor. The large black 2-volt cables are for the battery power in. The small black cables are for the charge controller power out. Located directly behind the charge controller mounting panel is the Wi-Fi micro router. It is critical pre-installation that you have an AC 110 duplex outlet to power the router. Once you have the power center to the wall, it is critical that your first connection point before powering the unit is connecting your 220 volt AC output cables here to a 60 amp disconnect or a J-box. There is a 1-inch Carflex adapter on the bottom of the unit for your convenience. It is very important to know that if you do not connect this prior to powering the unit, these cables will be hot 220 volt AC 50 amp. This is the Oasis Power Center 4000. On the left side is the classic 150 charge controller. The Schneider Context SCP keypad. The inverter, AC bypass, charge controller power, PV power, .48 volt 250 amp DC breaker, .48 volt DC indicator lamp indicating that 48 volt DC is on and powered, 220 volt AC indicator lamp indicating that the inverter is powered on and is supplying 220 volt AC to the AC output line. On the bottom of the unit are 3 surge protection devices. One is for 220 volt AC out, one is for 220 volt AC in, and one is for the PV-DC in. On the right-hand side of the unit is the Schneider Connex SW4000 watt digital hybrid inverter. The unit comes 48 volt DC with 4 110 amp hour Sunvolt battery. The batteries are connected in series, starting with the master positive battery cable on the far left-hand side. The batteries are then jumped in series, positive to negative with the 3 included jumpers, positive to negative, and ending on the far right side with the master negative battery cables and charging cables attached. The blue flat 6-pair cable is the battery temperature sensor for charge controller for temperature adjusted charging. This temperature sensor here has a piece of double adhesive tape on the back. This should be stuck on the middle of the centermost battery.